Yes, we're back on the Lexmoto LXS this morning, and we are taking this bike for its first service, despite the fact that it only has 36 miles on the clock. So I'm wearing my summer gloves this morning and my summer boots, despite the fact that it's raining. So what's that all about? Well, when I'm riding a bike that I'm not familiar with, and for those of you that don't know, this is actually my son's bike. When I'm riding a bike that I'm not familiar with, I do like to wear my summer gloves and summer boots because... oh, road closed. Yes, I like to wear my summer gloves and summer boots when I'm on a bike that I'm not familiar with, because I can feel the pedals more and I can feel the controls more. So getting more feedback is something that I like when I'm on an unfamiliar bike. So why are we taking this bike for a service when it's only got 36 miles on the clock? Well, it's all to do with the service interval and the warranty that came with this bike. So he bought this bike brand new, and the bike comes with a warranty, but you have to have the bike serviced at an approved garage at the correct service intervals. And the service intervals, your first service is due at either 500 miles or 3 months. And it's been 3 months. So the fact that it's been 3 months, the mileage is irrelevant. The service is due, so we want to protect that warranty, hence we're going over to get the service. The second service is due at 6 months or 3,000 miles. So we will be heading over again in 3 months' time. So how much is this service going to cost? Well, the people in the shop were a little vague about that. They said 30 to 40 quid. So at this very moment, I don't actually know how much the service is going to cost. But by the time I edit the video, I will know. So let me go ahead and put the cost of the service on the screen, and hopefully it was reasonable. Well, here we are. The shop opens at 9 and it is 9:02. So that is near as damn it perfect. Let's go ahead and get that all important first service. Well, it's been a little bit more than an hour actually, and I think they're almost done. I did get an opportunity to speak to the mechanic, and so I asked him, what do you actually check on a service? And he said, well, basically we check everything. You know, it's been 3 months, and if anything wasn't quite right, anything could have vibrated loose. So we check to make sure that everything's still tight as it should be. We check your lights, we check your tyre pressures, they check the chain tension, they lubricate the chain, and of course they do the all-important oil change, because it's a brand new engine, and when the engine's built, any amount of little bits of swarf could get into the engine, so we want those to be flushed out with the oil. So it seems like quite a comprehensive service. I've just for a moment taken shelter underneath the U-Pass trailer. I'm sure they wouldn't mind because they're not here. If they have anyone on CBT or DAS, well, they're obviously out doing their thing and the trailer is closed. Plus, it's a little bit of free advertising for them, so I'm sure they wouldn't mind. I seem to take any opportunity I can to plug U-Pass in my videos. Okay, we have the bike back. The service is done. The bike now smells like GT85, which is a lovely smell. I did just double check with the guy about when the next service is due, and he's confirmed that the next service is due at either 3,000 miles or 6 months. I said that'll be 6 months then. So, other than the service then, what else have we done to this plucky little LXS in its first 3 months? Well, the first thing that we did was we adjusted the position of the foot controls, starting with the gears. And this is something that I would suggest that you do as soon as you get a new bike. And I don't just mean brand new, I mean as soon as you start riding a bike that's new to you, I would suggest that you check your foot controls. You may get lucky, your gear pedal, your brake pedal, they may be in the perfect place. I certainly got lucky with my 125, but on this bike, they needed adjustment. And if you don't understand how the gear pedal is adjusted, well, this rod here has a ball joint at either end. You can see one just there. And these ball joints are threaded. Only one of them is threaded backwards. So once you've loosened off that lock nut there and the one on the other ball joint, this rod essentially just twists. You turn it one way or the other way and it raises or lowers the position of that peg there. And these ball joints are notorious for seizing. The older the bike is, the more likely they are to have seized in place through corrosion. Me being me, I thought that, you know, if this is a brand new bike, they'll be okay, they won't be seized. No, they were seized, despite it being a brand new bike. And that's because in the factory, they're dry assembled, so there's no grease in them. We managed to free them up and get some copper grease in there, so that hopefully they won't seize again in the future. The brake pedal was the next on the list, and this particular rider does need the brake pedal to be rather low, so that's been adjusted to suit the rider. I then decided to get some copper grease into these chain adjusters here, because I've seen stories and examples where these chain adjusters have seized in place, and again, because the bike was new and I didn't want them to seize, we've managed to get some copper grease into them. And the last thing that we've done is we've addressed the bag of chips L plate that we had on the front here, because from the shop, I mean I love this shop, but from the shop the L plate was slapped on up here somewhere, and it was just, as I say, slapped on. There wasn't really any finesse to it, so we got a fresh L plate, cut it slightly so that it fits the contours of the bike and fits in with the white graphics there, but it looks 1,000 times better. Well, that's the service done, and I must say, although I haven't ridden this bike in a few months, it is still an absolute pleasure to ride. It has that lovely upright riding position, very, very comfortable. But for now, service done, let's get the bike back home.